broadcasting live under the shimmering stars of Sedona, Arizona. UFO encounters, energy vortexes, the secrets of the Bradshaw Ranch, and spine-chilling paranormal tales. You're listening to the Mysteries of Sedona. And now your host, Dr. Claudette Lyons.
Welcome, everyone. We are coming back for our second show of Mysteries of Sedona. We are here live in our very exciting studio, live at the Bradshaw Ranch, and it is myself, your host, and our expert, Tom Dongo. Hi, Tom.
Hi. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here today. This is my spot here. This is the Bradshaw Ranch. This is where I spent so many years. All the excitement.
Amazing. Tom, we've prepared a couple of topics that we want to talk about that feel very relevant and super exciting. So the first question is, you are famous about your word and your writings on the Bradshaw Ranch. How did you end up coming here to begin with?
You know, I've probably been asked that 1,000 times, and I still don't mind answering it. You know, when I first moved to Sedona, it was about 38 years ago now, I heard about stuff that was going on around here, really weird stuff, and I was just getting into paranormal research, just getting into it. So I said, no, I don't know anybody that even knows anybody about knows the Bradshaw. So I got a letter from Linda Bradshaw. I said, so I'm looking, I can't believe it, you know, so I opened it up, and it was all strange photographs she'd taken out here, and she said, would you please come out to the ranch? And of course, I was, you know, shoe leather over the hill right then. You know, I couldn't. The next day I was out here, and I met Linda and Bob, and they were just delightful people. And I ended up spending 4.5 years here, two or 3 or 4 days a week.
Wow. And
sleeping here in my van. I had a camper van, so it was a wonderful experience. I mean, something that I treasure. You know, I'll treasure it forever. So yeah, that's so you know. Then we like I said, I was here 4.5 years. So we had I've written books about it. I have a best-selling book about it, and me and Linda wrote, and Linda wrote one of her own books too. I don't have it. I don't have a copy of it, but so there were 2 books written about the Bradshaw Ranch, and we had camera crews from all over the world here, every week. Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Japan, especially the Japanese. The Japanese love to come here. So me and Linda were really, really busy.
So, Tom, how were all of these places hearing about the Bradshaw Ranch?
You know, it was on national news a few times.
Okay.
And so it spread around the world real fast. And Linda and I got to be pretty famous pretty fast. So the word got around about some of the things that was happening out here, because a lot of it was exaggerated and people loved it. You know, they wanted to hear about it and see it. So and then the camera crews started coming, and we were every week we were really busy with and some celebrities. We had some major movie stars and whatnot out here, and major celebrities. So we were. Linda and I were real busy for a long time. Can you name one of those big movie stars for us? Yeah, and I can't think of his name right now, but one of them was the guy, he wrote the Celestine Prophecy, and at the time that was one of the best-selling books in the world. James Redford, I think, but he was, wow. And many other movie celebrities that were kind of minor, and but anyway, so we had a good time, you know, a good time with all these different celebrities. Yes, is it true Elvis Presley was here? Yeah, Elvis was here. You know, about 50 major movies were done in this area on the ranch. Bob was a carpenter, and he was a stuntman for the movies. And Elvis was here. Every major movie star that was in existence then was here. There's on the internet, it talks about it a lot, but Elvis was the main. He was here for about a week. Wow. And he and Bob got along real good. So, yeah. Interesting. So then you personally were up and down this little area here with your little sleeper van, huh?
driving.
I was probably on this road right here 500 times.
Wow.
Came down here at least 500 times. So it was a real, real epic that I'll never forget.
Yeah, I'm certain that it was. And you're saying that, so down this drive, just so people can understand a little bit, when you go beyond this green gate, what we have right over behind us is the actual Bradshaw Ranch, just so you can understand exactly where we are here in Sedona, Arizona. So we are going to come back here. We're taking a short break, and we'll be back with some more exciting topics.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sedona's Mysteries, and we are here with Tom Dongo, who is our expert. My name is Claudette Lyons, I'm your host. We are here live at the Bradshaw Ranch, and we are going to ask another exciting question now. Tom, there's a Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. How do the two famous ranches compare to each other?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm very, very familiar with the Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. I know most of the people, and I know the owner that owns the Skinwalker Ranch. And so I've been able to study both intensely. And the stuff that people ask me often, did you ever get hurt here? And I said, no, not once. And we could have, all the years we were here, anything could have happened to us, but it wasn't. Nothing happened. Nothing bad happened to us. But the Skinwalker Ranch, it's a hit on television. It's a hit show, and so the things that happen on Skinwalker Ranch are very malevolent, very dangerous, very dangerous. There are creatures on that ranch, and I spent a lot of time. I haven't been down. They wouldn't let me down on the ranch, but I know a lot about it. I've talked to the people and all that. So the difference is, this was malevolent, good here, and bad on the Skinwalker Ranch, markedly so, because we could have been hurt many times, and there's been a lot of cattle and people hurt on the Skinwalker Ranch. So if I was invited to go to the Skinwalker Ranch, I probably wouldn't. I was very close to it a couple of times, but so there's a great difference between the Skinwalker and the Bradshaw Ranch. The Bradshaw Ranch is as famous now as the Skinwalker Ranch is, but for a different reason. There's been nothing ever bad happen here, and I've seen it. The books I've been on television. Probably 50 times. Worldwide television, being interviewed about the ranch, and it was nothing but good that happened here. No bad. So, yeah.
That's interesting. So there's definitely quite a difference between the two.
Well, I know the people that run the Skinwalker Ranch, and I did a talk near the Skinwalker Ranch on 9 o'clock on a Friday morning, and 500 people showed up. So that was a culmination of my speaking career. I haven't done too much after that, but the Skinwalker Ranch fascinates me as much as because I know a lot about it. I know everything about the Skinwalker Ranch as I do the Bradshaw Ranch, and the Skinwalker Ranch scares me. Some of the things that happen on the Skinwalker Ranch really scare me. From a psychic. I'm a well-known psychic and remote viewer. I've been called one of the world's best remote viewers, and I can scan things from a distance. I was trained at the Berkeley Psychic Institute how to do that, and I'm very good at it. So I've been able to scan some of the worst things that happen on the Skinwalker Ranch, and it's scary. It really really scary. Well, like for instance, the one thing that scares me the most. One of the things is a dire. It was as big as a dire wolf trotted up to the ranch one day, and it grabbed a steer. It was basically friendly, and it grabbed a steer by the nose, a baby cow, a steer, and it was trying to pull it out through the fence. And the rancher shot it with a 45 5 or 6 times, and then shot it with a 30-06, which would the 30-06 would bring an elephant down. And the thing just let go of the calf and looked at the people and just trotted off. And the 30-06 blew a chunk of flesh off its shoulder, and it was putrid. It was rotten.
Yes.
But the wolf was. It stood about 4 feet at shoulder, so that's enormous. So that kind of stuff. I'm notorious for being kind of reckless, but that sort of thing scares me. It scared them too. But nothing like that ever happened here on the Bradshaw Ranch. It's just good stuff. Scary as it was sometimes, it was always good. It always had a good turnout. Oh yeah, and I want to talk about Linda's husband, Bob. Bob, we were all real good friends, and Bob, actually, we're opposite the old apple orchard here. Apples never grew here because there was never enough rain, but he had an apple orchard right here, and Bob was on national TV several times with this story, and that hill that's up there in front of us, a UFO flew over a disc, a metallic disc flew over that hill, and it was surrounded by orbs, about basketball-sized orbs, and it landed in the apple orchard right here. And Bob, it landed very close to Bob, 50 feet or something like that. That was it for Bob. He would all the things that happened with me and Linda. Linda would go in and say, "Bob, you've got to come out and see this. This is incredible." Bob wouldn't move. He'd stay in there watching TV all the time I was out here. He wouldn't come out again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's getting even better every moment, Tom. We'll be back. We're going to go to a real quick break.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi, everyone. We're back with the mysteries of Sedona. I am your host, Claudette Lyons, and here's our expert, Tom Dongo. We are live at the Bradshaw Ranch. Right over here behind us, behind this green gate, is the ranch itself. So this is a very exciting show. And we're just getting back into another segment here, I believe number 3. We have a really, really exciting question. This is something new for me as well, so I'm really excited here. Tom, Linda Bradshaw talked about white Bigfoot on the ranch. She named it Big Girl. Could you please talk more about that?
Oh, yeah, that's a really exciting time for me. All the crazy stuff that went on out here at the ranch, I had a hard time believing Linda about a Bigfoot, a white Bigfoot. I really did. And I really had a doubt in my mind, Well, Linda would feed it. She'd go out at night and put grapes and whatnot in it that only a Bigfoot could reach it, or a human that was 7 feet tall. Raccoons couldn't reach it, and it was always gone in the morning, and it would leave sticks on the ground.
Wow.
In a certain form. Yeah, she'd make sure the ground was clean, and it would leave sticks. Whatever ate all that stuff, it would leave sticks in a certain formation. And I've learned that Bigfoot do that. It's their way of thanking the person for the food. So I just remember this. They had ranchers. The ranch, the guys that worked on the ranch thought we were nuts. I mean, me and Linda and Bob, they thought we were, a couple of paranormal freaks, about the stuff they thought it was. So they some of the ranch hands one day went deer hunting down on the other. There's deer on the other end of the ranch, and so they got their rifles and went out. And about 10 minutes later, Linda said she heard a blood-curdling scream, and these guys come running back, doing a 100-yard dash, threw their guns in the corner, ran out the door, and said, "We believe, we believe, we believe." So I got a big kick out of that. Sometimes it takes that to make a skeptic believe. They got to experience it themselves to see it. So So one day, there used to be an old western town down here. A lot of John Wayne and Elvis and all were filmed there, and all the major film stars in the 50s were here. And so the ranch is completely, the old ranch is completely fallen down now, the movie studio. And so I was down there one day, and I'm still having trouble with this, the whole big girl thing, So there was nobody else around. Nobody can get down to it because there's cat's claw all through the hills here. And you can't get through cat's claw.
Okay.
It's got cat claws all over it.
Oh.
And the cowboys call it a comeback plant. If you tried to go through it, you'd have to come back to pull yourself off the cat's claw. So nobody else could have been down there. And so we were coming back. We were going up on the hill, and something picked up a 2x4 and slammed the side of a building 3 times. And Bigfoot do that, I've learned. And so there was a Bigfoot with us down there somewhere all the time we were there. So after that, I was a believer, and Bob, the Bigfoot laid down one time. It's in I think it's in my book. The Bigfoot laid down, and you know how people do a snow angel in the snow.
Yes.
It kicked its back foot, and it was about 9 feet tall. And Bob came out, and he's been an Arizona rancher forever. He was an old redneck rancher from way, way back, because he bought this ranch in 1949, so that's a long time ago, for $6,000.
Wow.
And then it was 120 acres. So Bob looked at it, and he said, no cow, no horse, no, nothing made that. I would know. So he said, no, and Linda said it was a Bigfoot. It was a big girl showing us that she was here.
Yes.
So I still have pictures of that. So anyway, after that, I was a believer.
So to me, when I'm listening to you, it would appear that this big girl, or whether it's Bigfoot, was trying to communicate, maybe saying thank you for having received food and feeling some care and concern. Would you agree that there's some sort of desire to communicate?
Yeah, I've been researching Bigfoot for about 50 years. And they're basically a very friendly creature, and rarely do they hurt a human, unless they're provoked or shot. So they're basically a very peaceful creature, and Big Girl was here. And actually, Linda got to be. I never saw the Bigfoot, but they're here. They're tracks. Even just recently, they've gotten Bigfoot tracks here, real ones. They're not. They're not. They're real tracks. I've seen them. So. And even right where we're sitting, we've seen strange tracks here of creatures coming and going. We couldn't. I grew up in the woods in Maine, and I've been all over North America, so I know all the animals. And whatever the right here where we're sitting, the tracks were, I couldn't identify them.
This is getting really good, Tom. I can't wait to get back to our next question. We are going to take a real quick break. Please make sure you join us again.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Sedona's Mysteries, the Mysteries of Sedona. I am your host, Claudette Lyons, and I am here with our expert, Tom Dongo. We are here in our live studio at the Bradshaw Ranch, right behind us at this green gate. Behind this gate, down this little pathway, is the ranch, and you're going to hear birds. You might hear a couple of little flies. We are literally out here in the wind. So thank you, Tom, for joining us. We have another very good question. I'm loving our conversations here. Now, you and Linda have written best-selling books. You have a book here called Merging Dimensions about you and Linda's research. Can you comment, please, on some of this book, some of the content for us related to the ranch?
Well, the entire book is all the photographs that were taken here, and these are real, authentic photographs. The whole book is about the Bradshaw Ranch and what happened here. And actually, I just thought of something. One of the Bill, gosh, now I can't remember his last name, but he was the world's number one big UFO researcher, and we were right out there to our left. We were standing out there talking one night, and this is the absolute truth. I am not making this up. About 50 feet in front of us, about a 50-foot light, an orb came out of the ground and rose up right here. This happened right here, and I am not making this up. So it got up to about 50, 100 yards, and it turned into an airplane. Engine noise. It was at night, so the flashing lights, and it flew right over Sedona. And he later, in a national magazine, there was a photograph that'd be very difficult, but he said we had hoaxed it, and he later admitted that it wasn't a hoax. He made a mistake, but it made Linda and I look real bad for a while.
Sure.
But it was his fault, his mistake. So so that was one of the interesting things that happened out here that we had to deal with.
Yes. Anything else super exciting?
Oh God, yeah. It wasn't so much UFO and extraterrestrial stuff here. Bill Hamilton was that guy. A lot of people remember him. Bill Hamilton. He was the number one in the world. And he and I were standing right there. He was famous then, Bill Hamilton. So, and he was one of our best friends. He was out here a lot with a lot of people, and so it was just strange paranormal stuff that happened here. That's I've said many times. You see, the portal there was a portal here, and by the ranch house, it was about 50 feet down and about 30 feet up, and it was about 40 feet. It was round. Linda could see it. I couldn't, and she could sense it. She was incredibly sensitive. So these things would there were times where we felt like we were in Times Square. All these things milling around us, these creatures, and we knew they could see us, but we couldn't see them, and we could smell them. And they smell from anything between roses and burning sulfur and tar. We could smell them. So we know some of the strangest things. My psychic abilities are incredible. I've said this before. The University of California, Berkeley. I'm so weird. The University of California, Berkeley wanted to pay all my expenses and study me for 2 weeks. I'm so strange. So Linda and I have said that these things, we're in the middle of these creatures coming out of that portal, and they some of their abilities rubbed off on us, especially me. So I think. And I've said this, I've had millions of people and listeners on some of these shows I've been on. I mean, about 100 million now. And I've been on 100 worldwide radio shows. And so I've said that Linda and I, probably only a handful of people ever on this earth had those kind of experiences, brushing up with interdimensional creatures. And we could, we could both feel it. We could, we talked about it, and some of these things, like for one thing, and this really happened. We Linda and I, we couldn't afford a lot of stuff, so we had 35 millimeter cameras, just simple point and shoot film cameras, and 2 spotlights. That's all we could afford, and so we would one night, rarely. We both hit the flash at exactly the same time, which is almost, I think that's the only time it ever happened. But in front of us, there was a white feather about 14, 20 feet tall, a white feather right in front of us. And I said, Linda, did you see that? Did you see that too? If you didn't, I'm going crazy. I'm going insane. He said, no, I saw it too. Wow. A white feather. Huh. But it didn't. We saw it with our eyes, but it didn't record on the cameras. Usually it was vice versa. The camera would see it, but we couldn't see it with our eyes. So that's what some of our famous in my book, Merging Dimensions. We have a lot of those. Our photographs are world famous still.
Well, the book is incredible. I highly suggest you people purchase this book. We're going to take a quick break, everyone. Please join us for the next segment. Thank you.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our amazing show, The Mysteries of Sedona. I'm your host, Claudette Lyons, and we have our expert, Tom Dongo, here. We are live at the Bradshaw Ranch. Behind this green fence is the little pathway, the little driveway that brings you right to the ranch, and then a panoramic view around. We have the nice blue sky. You'll hear the birds, a couple of flies maybe. And we are getting some more really good information, so we're happy you've tuned in here. Tom, in your 4.5 years here visiting the ranch, what is the scariest thing that happened to you and Linda?
Oh, I just thought of a couple more. But the main, I'll start with this. I got another one too. Don't let me forget. I can get real absent-minded. We used to see over there. It looked like airplanes landing at the Cottonwood Airport, but it wasn't. After about 2 years, I said, Linda, I remember one night I said, Linda, I don't think those are airplanes. So we started looking at them, and we started playing games with our spotlights. We had 3 million candle power spotlights, and we started playing games with them to see if they'd react, and they did. I had one night. We go like this, or do Morse code, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, that, and they would flash back. So we knew they were alive. They were living creatures. And one night, I'll never forget this as long as I live. I took the spotlight, went back and forth like this, just flash, bright flash, and the thing tried to mimic the spotlight. I mean, it was absolutely an incredible experience.
I'm sure.
So we knew those things were intelligent.
Yeah.
So Linda, we finally were able to afford. There wasn't a video camera that would film at night back then. But Panasonic came out with one, and Linda bought one. So the orbs that they started coming towards the the ranch. These that we thought were landing lights at the airport. Excuse me. So they liked Linda. They didn't like me for some reason. But Linda, they would follow Linda. She'd go back to the ranch house, and these orbs of light would follow her. Uh-huh. So one night she walked forward, but she put the camera behind her and turned it on, and there were orbs following her. They were darting back and forth between the trees there, and they were following her back to the ranch house. And unfortunately, Linda died a few years ago, but she took all that footage with her, plus some of the. We photographed some of the tracks of a creature. I'll talk about that now, that creature. But we were here one night, and Linda and I we knew all the sounds in the desert, the javelinas, the coyotes, everything, the whole deal. And we were right down there, and the Bradshaws had 7 dogs. Any dog that wandered on the ranch, they'd keep it. So they had 7 dogs, and one night we heard, actually right here, there's water in that creek occasionally. So we heard this roar, this grunting sound. I said, Linda, does that sound like a mountain lion, a javelina? And she said, no, it's not any of those. So the creature went actually behind us. It would have gone behind us and was walking by the apple orchard. And it roared like an African lion.
Wow.
Scared the hell out of us. It really did. So all the dogs jumped up simultaneously and charged. So we thought we were going to hear the sounds of dogs being torn to pieces. They didn't make a sound. And so they came trotting back and went down. But there was a corral at that end of the ranch and another corral up here, and there were about 7 horses in the two, and they started screaming.
Wow.
And I've asked people that raise horses, have you ever heard a horse scream like a woman? And they say, no, never. Well, all these horses were screaming like a woman.
Wow.
Being killed or whatever. And so the horses at that end were trying to kick their way out of the corral, the boards on the corral, because the creature got close to them. So the next day, Linda and I quit after that. We thought we knew it. It was actually on a ridge above us looking down. We thought it was in the trees, so that's when we said, enough for the night, so we quit. But the next morning we flagged off the tracks where it went near the horse corral. And my stride, I'm 6'3", and my stride is 27 inches, and it was 72 inches. That's an enormously tall creature, and we staked them out, and it was really impressive to see that. But and Linda took those photographs with her. I don't have them, but it was extremely impressive.
Yes.
So those are some of the adventures that Linda Bradshaw and I had here, and it was just, breathtaking.
That is incredible to learn about. Thank you, Tom. Everybody don't go anywhere. We're going to return after a quick break.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonaaoutbacktour.com.
Hi, everyone. We are back. This is The Mysteries of Sedona, and I am your host, Claudette Lyons, and this is our expert, Tom Dongo. We are live at the Bradshaw Ranch. We've got the nice blue sky above us, and we're getting into a phenomenal question right here. Tom, is there still a high level of strangeness that's occurring on this ranch today?
Yeah, there is currently, every day. It's always different, the paranormal, like the UFO activity around here. It's different. It's around Sedona. Sedona's notorious for UFO stuff, but it's changed for the last 30 years. It's still here, but it's just changed. It's different. So there was one. I had a meeting with I could name their names, but I won't. They're famous researchers, and they were here, and I had a meeting. I interviewed them for 2 hours in Sedona. And they'll probably know. They'll probably see this. And so they had everything: ground penetrating radar, all the listening stuff, and night vision. They had the works. They had everything that most researchers would kill for. Would be love to have. So anyway, they came here and they spread out. I get a kick out of telling this story. So they spread out and looked down on the ranch and it was after dark anyway, and on that hill behind us, which is pretty steep, and the road goes this way, but there's nothing on that hill. Even a tank couldn't come down that hill because it's so many trees on it. So they saw a car stopped on the top of the hill. That's Bradshaw Hill up there. It's called Bradshaw Hill. Mm-hmm. And they saw two lights stop on the top of the hill, and so they're watching it and they're filming. They filmed everything. And these guys are famous. These guys are dead serious researchers. No BS stuff. I mean, these guys knew what they were doing. So they said then it looked like they couldn't remember where the road was because it was hard to see. But see, the thing came. The two lights started coming down the hill. It kind of weaving back and forth like this, and then they realized there was no road there. Oh, wow. But this thing was coming down the hill, and it got down here. And the property here is owned by the U.S. government now, but it's leased by the University of Northern Arizona. So the University of Northern Arizona put these fences up, and there's a fence over there that's chicken wire. And that thing, they're doing biological work here, and they've furrowed a whole about half an acre down there. So this thing drove across that those furrows without a bump, just like floating, and it was floating. So it came, and the two guys on the top of the hill over there could see, and so they all this stuff is just almost unbelievable. Hard to talk about, so weird. So anyway, the two guys that were on top of the hill, this guy, all dressed in white, walk through the trees, and you can't get. This is really the only way you can get down here. You got to walk an awful long way if you come the other way because there's no roads, or you can't go through the cat claw up there. It's impossible. Wow. I've tried it. So anyway, this guy comes from nowhere, and these two guys are up there watching him. He's all dressed in white, and he goes around behind the ranch house and then walks back and disappears. So this car is coming, and it had headlights, tail lights, the whole deal. So it came through that furrowed field over there and parked behind the ranch house, and this girl got out and walked real fast. The whole thing, it looked like a car. The dome lights came on, the whole deal. So she got out, and she was dressed in white. So she went around to the back of the ranch house, and then went back. And the first thing I said, did she have time to pee? And they all said no. So anyway, she got in the car, the door slammed, and the car drove back through where a Jeep or a tank would be hard to get through this. And they went back up the hill and disappeared. So I love this stuff. I mean, the weirder it is, the better I like it. I've been saying that in my speaking gigs for many years. So anyway, the guy, like I say, these are seasoned researchers. These people know everything. Mm-hmm. So the guy in the middle, there's a windmill there. That windmill, I never, all the time I was here, I never went up to that windmill. Never went up to it. 4.5 years. But he was positioned by the windmill, and the ranch house was right in front of him. He turned around and got lost. He went up over the hill and got lost. Wow. So something got to him. Something. Yes. Changed, put a vision in his mind or something. So they had to go, and he was dazed. He was really dazed. So something happened to him when they were watching all this stuff right here at the ranch. And extraterrestrials, maybe, but that's not exactly how extraterrestrials work. So I had a 2-hour meeting with these guys the next day, and I've still got the material that they gave me, and it was that's only about a year ago, so it's still going on. Wow. And there are 3 or 4 researchers that are here regularly, and they see tracks, and they see things and hear strange noises, and for instance, a researcher, he was probably right, but I'm not so sure. They was here about a week ago, and they heard it was a screaming up in the bushes, which could have been a Bigfoot, but one guy said, "Oh no, that was a fox, a mating call of a fox." And I'm going, I don't know about that. I've been in the woods my whole life, and I've never heard that. Yeah. So
there's definitely still some paranormal activity here. Well, everybody, please stick around. We're going to take a quick break.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Mysteries of Sedona. I am your host, Claudette Lyons, and we are here with our expert, Tom Dongo. We are live at the Bradshaw Ranch today. Right behind this gate is the little road that would take you down, and behind these bushes, it's beautiful green bushes here, we have the ranch itself. So we are on to our next question here, and that is, what is the status of the Bradshaw Ranch today, Tom?
Well, I don't really know. I wish I had. It's owned by the U.S. government, and it's been the Forest Service manages it, and the University of Northern Arizona has leased it, and so incidentally, 7 years ago, the University of Arizona was going to bulldoze all of this, everything, and put dormitories for students here. And they haven't done anything in the 7 or 8 years. Why? I think they read my books and it scared the hell out of them.
Right. What a place to reside.
Yeah, they couldn't. They didn't want that kind of stuff happening to their students in a dormitory here. They were going to build 2 big dormitories, and they haven't done anything in that time. So it's oh shoot, I was gonna talk about something else. Now I forgot what it was.
Japanese crew.
Oh yeah, the Japanese. Yeah. So I get a kick out of this. There used to be signs all around here, and it was actually this fence behind us that they used to have property of the U.S. government. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So I said they wanted to go down to the ranch. So I said, well, okay, make sure you get a good shot of that first before we go down there. So they did. It was shown all over Japan. Property of the United States government, prosecutors will be, violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Right. So it's actually this fence behind us. So I took those I can't remember what they called. They were huge cameras. So I was on this fence. So I took the guy's camera. These are $100,000 cameras. So we went down to the ranch house. We were wandering down there, waiting to see if any headlights came down the road. So we were gonna beat it out of here. But they showed that all over Tokyo, all over Japan. And so in the middle, I said, we were all surrounded the ranch house down here. And I said, do you guys hear that? My hearing is not that good. But I said, do you guys hear that? And they said, no, we don't. So let's go this way. So we went closer to the kitchen in the ranch house, where I've been many times. And there was a sound coming out of that kitchen that was so creepy, it scared the hell out of all of us.
Really?
So we grabbed all of our stuff, the cameras, and I grabbed it, and we ran. We ran because we thought it was some kind of an alarm. And it was a creepy noise. But nothing ever happened. We thought we were going to get back up at Bradshaw Hill, and they'd be flying, white SUVs with U.S. government markings, but nothing ever happened.
Right.
So we that was quite a night. Yeah, it was actually this fence right here behind us. I got up on top of it and took the camera over and gave it back to him. We got up, but that was quite a night.
Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a night. They got, this isn't related, but the Japanese got film footage so incredible, and I was responsible for it. But the Japanese are really good about this stuff. They would not give me a copy of the footage that they had. I had a friend in the Mexican government try to put pressure on them to give me that. They said they would, and I had their offices in New York, and they would not give me the footage of that photo that they took. They would not do it.
I wonder why.
Yeah, that's one of these mysteries I've never known. But they got some kind of footage that. Oh yes, I remember now. 80-year-old brain. So we were on top of Bradshaw Hill, and actually there's a copy of it in my book. I used to get interviewed so often I got bored. The lights on me, the cameras, setting up the cameras. So we were on top of Bradshaw Hill, and I was sitting there bored, waiting for him to get done, and a UFO materialized right behind the film crew. Wow. And the half of them could speak good English, the Japanese guys. So one swung his camera around, and then it was red and it had white all over it, but it was right behind him. It was about 50 feet across, and it was a disc. And I said, do you guys see that? Turn around. So the cameraman had the camera going, so he got. I said later to the producer, did you guys get it? And he said, we got 3 seconds of it. That's enough. Wow. Full frame. And they got, I could only see, this, but they got full frame.
Right.
And the cameraman was shaking so bad. He was trying to speak in English and Japanese, and he was just shaking like this. And so that was one of the exciting things that happened around here.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible,
Yeah.
Tom. We're going to take a quick break, everyone. You don't want to miss this next segment coming up next.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the world Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mysteries of Sedona. I'm your host, Claudette Lyons. Here's our expert, Tom Dongo. And we are live in our studio, actually, which is outside at the Bradshaw Ranch. And we have a nice question. I like this question quite a bit. What is the future of Bradshaw Ranch?
You know, nobody really knows because it's in the hands of the Forest Service. And and it's leased by the University of Northern Arizona to do biological research on Arizona plants. But they've done nothing for, I think, about 8 years now. So, you know, if I had to guess, I would bet that the Forest Service will let somebody develop it and put condominiums down here and golf course and all that. So if I had to guess, or they could keep it as it is, you know, because this is a world famous location, all over the world, and the Forest Service knows it. So maybe they'll leave it because, you know, they're I better not talk about this, but you know, so nobody really knows. It's just really it would be a guess what they might do with it. But this is a prime location. So. And property around here is extraordinarily valuable. So it's really anybody's guess. But I really hope they leave it as it is for all the people. There's so many people that are really into paranormal research and study and the unusual things. So maybe they'll leave it as it is for people to experience, because people love to come here, absolutely love to come here. Because of what went on here, what happened here, you know, in the past. So, yeah, we can only hope that it's left as it is. That would be my absolute best wish. If I had to, you know, create that would be what I'd want.
Do you feel that there could still be some level of interest from some sort of government, or I don't know, some people have discussed even some potential entrance to some underground military bases or something. What do you think about any of that?
Oh boy, you know, I know the world's best expert on he's in Brazil now, but there's a tunnel that was drilled right underneath us, right exactly underneath us, and the History Channel was here a few months ago, and did a documentary, and they had ground penetrating radar here, and the Bradshaws. Something drilled an enormous hole through here, probably 50 feet. And they said it was about 50 feet. So the History Channel, it was called Beyond Skinwalker, the show. And they put ground penetrating radar around here, and they found the tunnel. And when it went underneath the Bradshaw Ranch, Bob and Linda said everything was shaking. The water pipes were shaking. The windmill was shaking, and they could hear the drilling going underneath. It was an enormous machine, whatever it was. And our government does have drilling machines that can bore a 50-foot tunnel. And it went right under the ranch. And when the History Channel was here with Beyond Skinwalker, the program, their radar. The ground penetrating radar validated that. There's a tunnel. We're sitting on it right here. Wow. It might have been drilled by extraterrestrials. It could have been, easily could have been, because there's a tunnel system. I was told this. A man in the U.S. Congress said, tell Tom Dongo, but don't tell him my name, but tell Tom Dongo he's right. The tunnel system goes from Jerome, which is about 10 miles that way, through here to Secret Canyon. It goes north to the Army depot. It's where they store munitions, and then from there it goes to Las Vegas and then to Area 51. He said Tom Dongo doesn't know about that northern part, but he's right about the tunnel system. It's there. And he said, you know, he was a U.S. congressman, and at the time, the military was swarming around here. There was something going on, and he called this guy. He was a U.S. congressman, and he said, "What the hell is going on in Sedona? I'm hearing it all over Washington." And he said, I don't know. But the military was swarming here. There were attack helicopters flying treetop level loaded with bombs and rockets.
And when was this?
Well, it would have been in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s,
yeah.
But it happened. I was there,
Sure.
and there were about 6 of us researchers active here for time, and we went nuts gathering information. We think a UFO crashed here, or a super secret fighter jet, and it crashed on Secret Mountain. Secret Mountain is about 3 miles to the right of us, and all this stuff. There were 14 attack helicopters on House Mountain, because my friend Claudia Sanderson counted them. So it was a pretty wild time. It really was. I mean, wild things happen here. But we think a UFO crashed. Oh yes, and I almost forgot. And this just happened recently in Las Vegas. I saw this. There was a flatbed truck, a huge flatbed truck, where the tarp was this thick over wreckage. There was some kind of wreckage. It was hauling out. They were hauling it out. And I've asked truck drivers, have you ever seen a rubber tarpaulin that big on a truck? And they said, no, never. But they were hauling something because it had pointed. It was wreckage.
Yes.
So what crashed? We think it was a UFO.
Something hidden from us.
Yeah, it was on House Mountain, on top of House Mountain.
Interesting.
Which is it's an old volcano, and there's nothing on how it's a huge mountain.
Yeah, things they don't want us to know about, I guess.
Yeah, well, they didn't know us.
Some of them.
Yeah, they sure didn't want us to know about that.
Wow, this is really good. Go ahead, and we're going to take a break, everyone. We'll be back soon.
Explore the mysteries of Sedona, the World Bradshaw Ranch, a hotspot for supernatural tales, UFO sightings, and Old West intrigue. Immerse yourself in the breathtaking beauty of Sedona's hidden landscapes, far from the beaten path. Join Sedona Outback Tour. Book your tour at www.sedonanoutbacktour.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mysteries of Sedona. I'm your host, Claudette Lyons, and here's our expert, Tom Dongo. We are live at the Bradshaw Ranch. Tom, to finish off this show today, the question is, what is your motivation, your inspiration, your intention with shining the light on these experiences that you've had over the years here at the Bradshaw Ranch with everyone?
Well, in the last 7 years, I've been on 106 worldwide radio stations. I was on coast to coast 3 times, so that's prime time. So there's 30 million people right there. So I've been listened to by about 105 million people, something like that. I want to know what the hell is going on. That's my whole drive in all of this. I want to know what the hell is going on. And I've been called one of the world's best remote viewers, and I've been able to prove it many times. I've proved it, and so I'm using my abilities at 80 years old. I want to know what the hell is going on. What's really going on this planet?
Right.
Like the Bradshaw Ranch, the Skinwalker Ranch. It's a mystery. It's a mystery nobody can understand. Nobody. I mean, I know the best of the best. The top researchers, and none of us know. None of us.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find out and blast it all over the place. I tell people when these shows I'm on, I said when I find out I'm going to blast it all over the place. I never keep anything, and I let everybody, whatever my stuff is, I let them use it.
If we may have a theory, Tom, your theory, this is kind of after all these years of experiencing and watching and learning. It may be just an unproved theory, but what is your theory? What do you think is going on?
Oh, let me think a second. Should I talk about this? Yeah, I'll talk about it. Yeah. The wind blowing across my eye.
Yeah.
Always. That's why I don't ride a road bike anymore, because the wind, I can't take the wind on my eyes. Okay, I'll talk about this.
Okay, go ahead.
You on? We on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, what's my theory about what's going on? I was on Coast to Coast one night, and Connie Willis was a great friend of mine. She was the hostess that night, And people ask me what's going on in the world. So I had an experience, remote viewing, and so I said, Connie, I'd like to talk about this if I could. And she kind of didn't want me to do it. I said, Connie, I'm going to talk about this. I've got to talk about it. So I did. So what's going on this planet? Is it something? It's something nobody understands. I know because I know the best of the best. So I said, Connie, I have the ability. I was trained at the Berkeley Psychic Institute to track somebody. Anybody thinks of you, it's going to leave a trail. It's an energy trail. And so there was the missing 411, David Paulides, one of his shows, one of his people, there was a deer hunter that disappeared, vanished, poof, gone. So, and I was going to investigate that too, because there's about 3 million people that just poof are gone every year. So I was going to be the head doing that. I gave up. It's too much. So anyway, I said, so I tracked this guy, and somebody asked on one show, he said, well, you're going up or you're going down, like hell and heaven, right? So I said, no, we're going up real fast. And then I was going faster and faster and faster, and somebody slammed on my brakes. And I'm using remote viewing here. And a voice said, this is as far as you go. So I learned, this is a long story, but General Stubblebine, who was in Denver with about 800 of the best remote viewers on the planet. So he had said that none of us know how to get through this wall, and I did. I learned early on how to get this wall. So there was a wall in front of me when this guy stopped, said, don't even, he said, this is as far as you go. So I'm looking at this wall. I could have got through it easy. And the voice said, don't even try. Yep. So what was on the other side of that wall was what whoever they are, don't want us to see. Mm-hmm. I got a pretty good idea. It's more horrible and more wonderful than we can imagine. Mm-hmm. It's those two things. And that's as far as I got with it. But it's more horrible and more wonderful than we could ever imagine. And that's what's on the other side of that wall. That whoever they are, don't want us to see it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for all of your expertise here and for being at the Bradshaw Ranch today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We look forward to our next time. Thank you.